Dear world,
I am a woman,
a human,
I am a creation of God,
a grateful one.
I also have hair, nose, hands, ears, and eyes.
a body so nice.
A body so nice.
But
Sumakya mo! Bata ko! Ano yung mga makay sa kapa? Pwede ang babae kaya mo magpagalaw! Aray ko ka! Para nagsak na ba kasi niyo akong nanay niyo?
Ayaw ko kasi!
Hindi nga pwede! Ate mo!
Ayaw ko kasi sa'yo!
But why experiencing such things?
why being discriminated?
Why being violated?
we are human too.
Dear world,
Help me stop,
Stop
violence
violence
against
against
women.
women.
World, women are humans too.
Good morning everyone, I am Miki Suga. We are here to report our topic about women and violence. But before that, let's play in our word search motivational exercise. How to play? First, locate the given words in the grid running in 1/8 possible direction horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. Second, use the guide question to find hidden words. Let's get started. Find the words and circle them. Question number 1. Sexual act done between person, family members or closely related person. Question number 2. First are concerned penetration of the vulva or anus using a penis, other body part, or an object. Question number 3. The forcing of unwanted sexual act upon a person. Question number 4. Involves the relocation of women from one place to another without them knowing where they are going. Question number 5. The deprivation of a woman's financial independence. Question number 6. Any act involving the use of the person by another for sexual intercourse or lascivious conduct in exchange for money, profit, or any other consideration. Question number 7. Representation through publication, exhibition, cinematography, indecent show, information technology, or by whatever means a person engaged in real or stimulated explicit sexual activities or any presentation of the sexual part of a person to primarily sexual purpose. And that's all. Thank you for playing. Let's proceed to our topic. Women and violence. About is a topic that is difficult both to read about and write about. Not only is the idea of causing harm to others a complicated idea to grasp, the idea about certain type of violence the most cultures is saddening. Lessons, objectives. At the end of this chapter, the student shall be able to, first, identify the various forms of violence against women. Second, explain how even subtle forms of violence affect women. And third, articulate ways to prevent violence against women. Our UN Secretary General Kofi Annan shares that violence against women is perhaps the most shameful human right violation. Is known no boundaries of geography, culture, or wealth. As long as continues, we cannot claim to be making real progress toward equality, development, and peace. Defining violence against women. The Magna Carta of Women in the Philippines defines vow as any act of gender-based violence that result in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, or physiological harm or suffering to women, including threats or such act, coercion of arbitrary privation of the liberty, whether occurring in public or in private. Types of violence against women: physical violence, psychological violence, economic abuse, sexual abuse. What is physical violence?
So, good morning everyone. I am Maria Camille Bonifacio Bautista and I am the next reporter. So, let's talk about the physical violence. So, the most detectable form of POW is physical violence. It's involved causing physical or body harm against another person. Next is psychological violence. So, psychological force or violence involves causing harm to a victim through the use of emotional manipulation or resulting mental suffering. Some form of psychological violence include constant putting down of a woman, diminishing her value because of her socially constructed rule, or judging how she acts or what she does. And an example is the public ridicule of woman because of her gender, and repeated verbal abuse is also a form of violence. So next, the economic abuse or violence. So economic abuse is the deprivation of women financial independence. And this form of abuse can be realized through explicit acts such as denying women the right to use property or materials that are legally her, destroying her things, slowly controlling her money or property, or threatening to deprive her of financial support. That are more subtle forms of economic abuse, involve the removal support from one's partner, having her father or spouse or relatives disallow her from participating in the labor market, or stopping her from creating her own incomes generating project. So next is sexual violence. So it's defined as the forcing of unwanted sexual act upon a person. It's not limited to the act of copulation. Any act that is sexual is nature can be considered sexual violence. So sexual violence range from rape, marital rape, exists, sexual abuse of children, to sexual objectification of women and children, and molestation and attacking or unwanted touch of a woman's private part are included in this definition. So here's the types of sexual violence. So first, rape, marital rape, attempted rape, incest, and female genital mutilation. So here is the example of sexual violence. So first is rape. So rape is defined as force of coerced penetration of the vulva or anus using penis, other body parts, or an objective. And rape is considered rape even if the penetration is minimal. Include the successful rape is attempted rape. Next is marital rape. So it includes acts that are covered by rape, although it occurs between a married couple. While this form of violence are recognized by the anti-rape law of 1997, there are clear barriers to its full implementation. In some areas in the Philippines, marital is not acknowledged as violence or rape by the victim rape, the victim family, and more often than not, the community when the crime was committed. Next is incest. Incest is sexual act done between family member or close related person. The root of incest comes from the violation trust of a victim on his or her assailant. It's concerned the lack of power in which victim lost their voice to speak up regarding the abuse because they may not know that what is happening to them is wrong, as in the case of a young children, or because the perpetrator threatened the victim to stay quiet about the interaction. Next, female genital mutilation, also called female circumcision, involves the cutting or removal of certain part of woman's internal vagina. It is mostly carried out on the girl 15 years and younger. Genital mutilation has known medical benefit to females. In fact, women can be placed in grave danger due to massive bleeding. Next, sexual harassment, a specific form of sexual violence that occurs outside one's home. The sexual act may not necessarily be forced or take a physical form. Manipulation, intimidation, and blackmail can be used to coerce someone into having sex or performing sexual acts. The Philippines Anti-Sexual Harassment Law of 1995 defines sexual harassment as the demand of a sexual act or favor in an institution wherein the person who demands the act is in immoral ascendancy or influence over the person being solicited. It is considered harassment regardless of whether or not the victim agrees to partake in the act.
Hello everyone, my name is Shaira Kani. I am the next reporter. Let's talk about violence against women in public spaces. Street harassment is a sexual harassment that occurs in public space. It may involve unwanted sexual gesture, blocking a person's path. Street harassment is about the power and the desire to show power over another gender. Pornography, prostitution, sexual slavery, and sex trafficking. So, what is pornography? Pornography is a controversial issues that can lead to abuse and discrimination against women. Example of pornography: encouraging or showing a photo, film, video, or other image describing a sexual activity with a minor that is forbidden. Next is prostitution. Prostitution is an act of sexual intercourse or lascivious use conduct in exchange for money, profit, or other consideration. Example: asking to pay for sex, following a prostitute's instruction for service, and using the internet to negotiate a price for a sexual act. Next is sex tourism. Sex tourism uses a sexual service as a selling point for tourism, in which a person may go to a specific location to experience sexual activities, like escort service, are also considered forms of sex tourism. Next is sexual exploitation. Sexual exploitation is the participation of a woman in the sex industry, prostitution, or pornography because of a force or intimidation. Example of it includes rape, prostitution, sexual pornography which adult has not consented or was pressured into consenting. Next is spiritual violence. Spiritual violence is when powerful religious leaders use religion to control and rule over a woman. Example of it is someone forcing you or your children to participate in spiritual or religious practice when you don't want to. So the next is reproductive or medical abuse. Reproductive or medical abuse is someone else has ever controlled your reproductive choice, such as deciding you become pregnant or not to continue with a pregnancy.
Hello, I'm Angelo Dos Santos, your next reporter. So let's continue our discussion about women and violence. Abuse of women in intimate relationships. Women who are abused by their partners are called victims of intimate partner violence or abuse. It entails any form of violence or harm against a woman by her current or former partner. It can be a husband or a live-in partner. The abuse of women in intimate relationships is seen as a major health issue that affects a woman physically and emotionally. It also causes psychosocial harm. Domestic violence. Domestic violence occurs within a home where an equal power relationship between a victim and the perpetrator exists. Children who witness or experience domestic violence are highly likely to perpetrate it as adults. Other possible effects include children with behavioral problems, children who end up in the streets, and children who are more likely to be trafficked. The impacts of VOW. Violence against women influences how they participate in the public sphere. A woman who is a victim of VOW loses 1 out of 5 of her health days because of abuse. The issues are not only personal but financial as well. The high costs in treating a victim of VOW are associated with physical treatment, therapy, shelters, training for advocates against VOW, and the prosecution of the perpetrators. 1. Perpetrators. Health consequences of VOW. VOW is a global health consequences of VOW. VOW is a global phenomenon deeply rooted in certain cultures. VOW has long and short-term effects on women physically, emotionally, and sexually. It can lead to unwanted pregnancies, unwanted miscarriage, sexually transmitted diseases, and other sexual and reproductive health issues. Children who witness AWIR are at risk for maltreatment, sexual abuse, and domestic violence. Loss of VOW. The institutionalization of women's rights in the Philippines began in the post-martial law period. Gender equality is enshrined in the 1987 Constitution. Before the inclusion of gender equality in the Constitution, sexual harassment was not recognized. Rape was a crime against chastity. Those who were not seen as stereotypically chaste used to be discriminated. The call for the elimination of VOW came after the 1995 Beijing Platform for Action. Prevention and response. VOW is a form of domestic violence. VOW persists as a result of the interaction of ideology and belief systems, social structures, community patterns, and personal history. It is difficult to address vow due to its sensitive nature and its lack of specific appropriation in the law. The enforcement of vow laws is focused in responding to vow rather than stopping it. So that is all about the topic, women and violence. So in summary, the term violence against women has been used to describe a wide range of acts, including murder, rape and sexual assault, physical assault, emotional abuse, battering, stalking, prostitution, genital mutilation, sexual harassment, and pornography. There is a little consensus in the still evolving field on exactly how to define violence against women. The major contention concerns whether to strictly define the word violence or to think of the phrase violence against women more broadly as aggressive behaviors that is adversely and disproportionately affect women. To finally end our report, let me introduce our members, starting off with our leader, Maria Ricabe Bautista, Shara Kani, Vicky Isuga, and yours truly, Angela De Los Santos. Thank you for listening with us. Have a nice day. Thank you for watching.